Afternoon guys, 4:30, 4:45 on the 9th of July, and today I'm blogging on my balcony, I'm blogging on my balcony, I'm blogging on my balcony, and I have some hot chocolate, beautiful hot chocolate, bought in SM Langen, and it's shipped from the UK. Tesco's make this, very very nice. So today, on my blog today, I've had a couple of requests on my comments, and these are about how much does accommodation cost, what is the how much is electricity, so just about accommodation and living in Davao. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do vlog 1. It's going to be about houses, okay, houses and subdivisions. There we go, that's what's going to happen today. So first one, I'm going to talk about how many subdivisions are in Davao. Approximately now, as I talk today, there are 33 different subdivisions within Davao City. Okay, now you have to remember that Davao City covers a massive area. It's not a small footprint, it is a large footprint. So it runs from Kalinan all the way out to Panabu, and it's just a massive landmass. So this is 33 subdivisions within that landmass, and what I'm going to turn around and do today is I'm going to cover in blocks, so high end, medium, low end, and how can I say, economy friendly. I was going to use the word cheap, but I think that might upset somebody, so it's economy friendly. So let's talk about the top tier of subdivisions. I don't live in a top tier subdivision. Let's get the perspective on this one. I live in a nice subdivision, middle of the road. Okay, it's not high end, it's not middle, it sits at the bottom end. It's a nice subdivision, okay, and I rent an apartment, not a house. Okay, so let's put that perspective there. So let's go to start with. So on the high-end subdivisions, you have things like Woodbridge, which is going is on my road, going out towards Turil. It's a very nice subdivision, and the properties there range from 3, 4, 5 and 6 bedrooms. Okay, it's around about 8 years old. Next to that is another subdivision which is called, I think it's called Sarango, which overlooks Davao. It's just down from Jack Ridge, another high-end subdivision. Okay, houses in there, 4, 5 and 6 bedrooms, come with the maid's quarters, comes with possible swimming pool, so very large, very big accommodation. I'm going to turn around, and after this bit about high-end subdivisions, I'm going to put on a picture of a high-end subdivision house for rent, which is currently on the market as of today. Then you come back down in towards Davao, and you have Illuminai, which is near the airport. That's another subdivision, 3, 4 bedroom houses. Now these houses, they don't have lots of land. This is what you need to understand about the Philippines. They tend to build up to the borders of their land and put their house in here. They have a little yard in the front, nothing at the back. They build right up to the wall at the back of the property. So this property I'm in is being built on a plot of land. So if it's built on a 300 square metre plot of land, the house is built right up against the boundary of the back of the property. So at the front you have your parking space and everything like that. If you want to actually have land left and right and behind you, you have to buy the plot here, the plot there. So if you want to put a house in the middle, you have to buy plot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the middle plot, which is 6, is where you put your house, but you own all the plots around you. So on a high subdivision you are looking anything from 5 million to 10 million peso for the land. No building, no other things, all that comes as an extra. So at the moment 33 subdivisions, I've just named 3. You can go out further, going towards Tagum, and there are some high-end estates there. Dunit is one of them. On Samal there are 3. There's Kimbali and Soragasa. They're 2 high-end, I think I pronounced Soragasa, it might be Soragaya, but they are high-end subdivisions. So you are buying a 200 square metre plot or 300 square metre, and you need to add on to that. So that's the high-end subdivision. Now when you build on these high-end subdivisions, you have to turn around and build within the constraints of the subdivision. So the subdivision will put these parameters that you have to build to. You cannot go outside that. You cannot exchange. If you buy a plot of land in the subdivision and you want to build and you're happy with all of that, then you have to start building within a certain time frame, so that all the other plots of land and all the other houses are being built at the same time. There isn't a 5-year or 6-year or 7-year wait. That doesn't work like that. If a plot of land is not sold, it will sit there until somebody comes along and wants to buy it. So here on this subdivision, which is at the low end, people are actually building dormitels or apartels like I am in at the moment. Plus you have land that has houses, and you have large houses, and I've done videos on the houses that are here. Up on the top end of this subdivision, there are some very big houses up there, 6 or 7 bedrooms, and they are sitting on maybe 5 or 6 plots of land. Now the other thing you need to understand about your subdivision, where you're going, you need to make sure that it's in a flood-free zone. What you don't want to be doing is buying a piece of land that looks great in the dry, but when it rains it backs up with water and you end up with loads of mosquitoes, and you end up with a massive problem regarding drainage and getting rid of that water, because that water will just turn around and sit in your garden or sit on your plot, and it will just get really terrible. Now there are some upmarket subdivisions out near Mintal, and there is Narara Tavara, which is out on the Capitian road, but it's a little bit far out for me, and the road is not a very nice road, but it's a nice big subdivision and it has some nice properties. So if you don't mind a 3/4 of an hour journey to get into Davao, then that's pretty cool. Remember that all the big hospitals and all the major hospitals are in Davao City. They are not in the outlying area. If you move further afield, like to Kalilan, it's cooler going up towards the mountains, and the temperature will go from say 28 to 30 in Davao City to around 20 to 18. There is that much difference, but you end up with misty mornings and damp jungles, damp forests, but it's cooler, a lot cooler, which means you don't need your AC on all the time, and you don't need to work everything so hard. So there are 5 or 6 very nice. Demosa Fairline is another one, another upmarket. Very, very nice. So that's your upmarket. So guys, I've just covered off the upmarket part of it, and I will just give you a synopsis, an overview, and then at the end I will do the financials, and I will turn around and do the costs that are associated. So then you have done your high end, you're just below the high end, which is your medium to high end market, which is your 3 and 4 bedroom houses. So there's Diamond Heights, which is up near the airport, and there's quite a few subdivisions, about 8 or 9 subdivisions being built up at the airport area, and they all have 3-4 bedroom houses, very close together. No backyard, but a small front yard. Street parking is what it's all about. The houses are fitted out quite nicely. You need to turn around and sort out your fixtures and fittings going in. The thing is, here in the Philippines, they'll talk about the wall colour, the concrete, the cementing, the tiling of the roof and stuff like that. They'll give you a basic kitchen that you can buy from any Costco or any MFI, B&Q, or any hardware store in the UK or in Australia or Canada or USA. That's basic, and I mean basic. The outside door looks great, but the inside is just MDF, quite cheap. If you want to go up market, there are some Korean restaurants in Davao, design shops that do very, very nice kitchens and bedroom suites and stuff like that. But majority of people here do not go upmarket on the kitchen, and do not go upmarket on wardrobes and built-in facilities in their in their closets, or in their walk-in changing areas, or their powder rooms. So they don't do that. Again, houses in this market are 3 and 4 bedrooms, predominantly on the 3. They have a maid's quarter, which is a very, very small area. They'll have a dirty kitchen on the outside, but they'll also have an inside kitchen area where you can put your fridge and your cooker and stuff like that. They don't do gas here. That's what you've got to understand. All the houses will have a gas bottle if you want to go down the gas route, because electricity is very, very expensive. But the majority of people are moving towards induction hobs because of their low output on electricity, their low uptake. However, you have to turn around and make sure you kit out your kitchen as you would like it. The houses that I've actually seen and I've been around and had a look at, they're a gobbledygook, higgledy-piggledy mismatch of bottom line cheap kitchen utensils or kitchen equipment, appliances, going up to high end. I've not seen Bosch, I've not seen Neff, I've not seen anything that sits in the top category. Everything that sits here is Hayabusa, or it's kneale, or it sits in that Sharp, Panasonic area. So that's really on that side of it. There are a couple of subdivisions, what's it called, Outview or Outlook, which is on Samuel, which overlooks Davao, which is 3-bedroom accommodation, 3-bedroom houses that you buy the plot and then you build the house you want. Within Davao, there's some subdivisions down at Palm. There are some subdivisions out near Ecoland, and there are some really nice little places within Davao, but you've got to remember that once you're in the subdivision, it's quite nice. What is outside the subdivision on this area could be an area you don't want to live in. Does that make sense? It's an area that is a barangay, or the other side of it is an industrial area. and they don't mind putting these middle to high end subdivisions in these areas, but then around those areas will become a little bit built up, restaurants and shopping malls and stuff like that. So Ecoland is a typical example, has a lot of condominium high-rise, but has 4 or 5 medium to high-end subdivisions that sit within the category I'm just talking about. The build quality at this level and at the higher level is very, very good. Don't get me wrong, it's very, very good. And if there is an earthquake, you have to get your house inspected to get a certificate to turn around and say that there's no structural damage or no structural integrity that's compromised during the earthquake. There's not a lot of 3-bedroom subdivisions going out towards Panabu. However, in Tagum, Carmel or Carmelita, they have some 3 to 4 bedroom houses, but it's a mixture of middle to low end housing. It's 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, basic, put together in a box, sometimes in a terrace, which lets it down a little bit. So if you're going into Buddha or going up into on the Bukidnon Road, there are not a lot of subdivisions built up on the mountains. I would suggest there will be in years to come, but at the moment it's concentrating on the surrounding areas of Davao City. Remember, Davao City sits here, but you've got all of this out here they class as Davao City. So at the moment, that's what's happening. Okay, so we're looking at middle of the road accommodation, middle of the road housing. Now, middle of the road housing is all the way through the Davao City area. So from Abrero to Palm Gill to Agdao to Buhangin to Bakaka to Toril to Ulas to Puan. There are lots of subdivisions sitting in this market, and you can get these subdivisions, these houses, at reasonable prices. They are, remember, 2 to 3 bedrooms. They are 2 up, 2 down. They might be 3 in a block, 4 in a block, or 2 in a block. They're not going to be detached. They are going to be as part of a block. So you have a block here, then you'll have like a road and a little bit of front yard, then you'll have another block, and they build them like that. They're not massive when in the middle of the city centre, so you might end up with maybe 50 houses maximum in a small subdivision area, but it will be down near Tolomo, it will be down near Mintal, it will be down near Matina Crossing, it will be down near Maha Road, it will be up near the bottom of Jack Ridge. It will be up towards Diversion Road along that river area. If you come across the river area, it will be off the road of Bakaka going down towards the river. There's Sunny Vale on the right hand side. Nice subdivision, nice little houses, but they're old now. They're not modern, but they have character, and they deliver what they say they're going to do. Again, they're built within their plot right up to the edge of the plot, which I find a little bit disturbing sometimes, because you've got people making a load of noise in the wall and you can hear it, because the walls are not double thickness, they're not insulated, they're just a wall, and that is it. So there are quite a few subdivisions sitting in that category, and as I said earlier, I will post some pictures of that middle of the road subdivision on the houses. They are basic, simple houses. They have a small kitchen area which is around 2 meters. They'll have a stair going upstairs to 2 bedrooms, and the 2 bedrooms will maybe have a window back and front. No AC, you need to sort the AC out. They'll have 2 or 3 plug sockets, have a door, they have a tiled floor, and everything else is concrete. Everything else will be concrete. So that's the low end, that's the middle of the end. At the low end, then you end up with places that are further afield, like Tabuk, going up towards Kabatian, going out to Laverna, going out to whereabouts is it? Towards Ulas, going out towards Turil, going out towards Digos, and these subdivisions are they are Brea, B-R-E-I or B-R-A-I, Brea homes. Basic build. Quality, not great, I've been told. I've been led to believe, not brilliant, but it's your first step on the ladder, okay? And you can buy these with a simple deposit. To me, some of the houses look like just a garage. They just look like a garage. You walk in the front door, it's all laid out, and you go into the back area and you've got a dirty kitchen. Left and right will be your neighbours, will be the people who live next door. And anywhere from 50 to 150 built in a subdivision on the low ends. And this is the low end of the subdivision. Now the other company that is in that is called Decca Homes. They build very, very small houses. It has a little bit more land, so people tend to expand into those houses. So that is at the bottom end. That is the economy homeowning that I'm talking about. Okay. Now to own one of these, it's simple. You just go along and you put down your deposit and you start paying your monthly payments. You can buy these with PAIG loans, which is a bank loan, or you can do your own bank loan, or you can pay cash. But the houses are very basic. Okay, there's no room for a maid. You might be able to expand if the foundations and the lower brickwork, they're just going to be single brick wall with a plaster on it and then masonry. And what we're talking about is we're talking about houses. We're not talking about apartments or condominiums. We're talking about houses. Okay? So at the bottom end, of the housing, as I said, you've got Decca Homes and you've also got Brea Homes, and not a lot of people actually rent these houses because it's for the Filipino community to buy these areas. You'll find that I don't know any foreigners that actually rent these, because they're around 4,000 to 7,000 pesos a month to buy once you put your deposit down if you're living with a Filipino. But what actually happens is, as a foreigner, you look at the house and you think to yourself, well, if I'm going to be here 5 years, I might as well rent or move to a higher quality property in the middle of the bracket rather than the top end or the high end, and rent there while I look for something to buy in that category. Mintel, the Decker homes are at Mintel, they're at Puan, and they are around, Tubuk, they are outside at Kaptan, they're outside what I call the half an hour journey from Davao down to Davao Centre, and you have to turn around and spend a lot of time getting from A to B with everybody else, and there are the property size about 28 to 30 square meters, comes with a toilet, one bedroom and a living room, so it's not big, and the quality of the build is basic, put it that way, considering if you're looking at Australian or UK or American or Canadian build quality, it's down at the bottom end. So I'll post some pictures of that and you can actually have a look. Now the final area that I'm just going to talk about on housing is that if you want to go further afield, if you're not worried about travelling, you can rent a house, small house, for as low as 5,000 to 8,000 pesos a month. Okay, has no AC, you use a fan, has a couple of lights, has water, has a little bit of land, very rural, and I mean very rural. I'm going to post a picture of one that I found on Samo. It's at I think it's Bakal, Bakal, Bakal Bagat on Samo. It's 4,000 pesos a month. Okay, remember there's 50 pesos to the dollar, or there's 63 pesos to the pound, so you can work that out. But it's very rural, out in the country, and it's a basic small house. It'll have a bedroom, a lounge area, a kitchen area, and a dirty kitchen outside. It'll have water and electricity. The water you won't be able to drink, you'll have to boil it, but you can get your own water built in if you want that style. So I'm going to put some pictures. So it's gone from top end, high, middle end, economy, economy friendly, and then off the grid, what I call off the grid. So yeah, there are some great places to live in houses here. I haven't rented a house. What you normally do is that when you rent, is that you will have a contract. The contract will want 1 month up front, 2 months deposit, which you give. It will want a reference, and it will want some legal documentation like your passport or anything like that, and a copy of that, which then you hand over. You pay your rent either by bank transfer or cash or into a management company. So that's 3. You're responsible, so the person that's renting will then turn around and set up, give you the account details to pay your water, to pay your electricity, and that's for you to pay either into a bank, either BDO or PNB or BOC or Maybank, whichever bank the renter has actually put out. So you do get your contract. What I found, questions I ask when I go and look at a property: 1, what's included? 2, is the water from a water company? I did rent property for 12 months, and the property owner decided do a borehole and draw water from a local lake. So the water was coming through from Des Moines Water, and then after about 10 months it went a murky brown colour and started being brought in from the lake. Yeah, from the lake. Because you can do that here. You can put a borehole to the water level and you can pump it in. So I was actually having water coming through the shower that was dirtier than the rainwater that was outside. So that was one of the things. You have to keep an eye on these things, and then you have to challenge them. But always challenge them in a polite way and a open way. Don't be nasty or aggressive or anything like that. But that happened to me. So I decided to move. So where I am at the moment, I have clean water, good electricity, and that's that. The other thing you need to ask if you're going to rent is Wi-Fi connection. So we all like the internet, we all like having our phones, we all like keeping in touch with friends and family and people. So Wi-Fi is key. So in the Philippines you have Smart, Globe, PLDT, Sky, and there's a couple of others, but they're like the four major. PLD and Sky, Smart, are owned by the same company, so they're together. We have internet here, and it costs me it costs Annie around 3,000 pesos a month, so that she can do her online teaching, and that's 50 megabytes per second. Okay, so she's got 50 megabytes per second of internet connection, and PLDT, not bad. Yeah, it works quite well. It gets slow on a Sunday or late on a Friday night, but it's there. You can buy a lot cheaper. So a friend of mine is going over to Sky. He already has Sky in a house somewhere else, and he's moving here. However, to do the transfer from one rental house to the new rental house, it's going to take him 6 weeks for the connection to be moved. 6 weeks. So if you do internet, try and get your internet and your contract all together, so that when you decide you're going to leave, your contract finishes, and then you can move your PLDT or your Globe with you. Yes, you can buy LTE cards or dongles to do internet. Very slow, and the usage rate is very fast because they want you to keep buying top up. Okay, so that's one of the downsides of doing dongle. I keep moving the phone because it keeps going dark. I think the sun is coming down, so my hand keeps going in front of the sensor. So you need to understand, you need to ask the questions about your internet, you need to ask your questions about clean water, you need to ask about your electricity. Are you on a meter? Do not rent a property if the person says, I'll just give you a bill each month, because you'll end up paying for his rent, his electricity, and maybe everybody else's. You need a meter. Here, there's a meter downstairs, and I look at the meter and do my reading of my meter. And what they tend to do is you do an opening count, then you do your closing count, then you take this away from this to give you what you've used, and then you times that by your 933 per kilowatt per hour, and that will give you a rate. Now, when I first moved in here, it was around 81. Since COVID-19, the electricity companies here, there's only 3 of them, have all put their rates up because they know that everybody is using more electricity. They can't do anything. They have to stay inside. So yeah, the electricity companies, a bit of a rip-off. But anyway, the most expensive commodity in the Philippines is electricity. Yeah. I think it's more expensive than some illegal substances on the market. So now, you can rent houses that are outside subdivisions, and those houses will be in small barangay or small villages or communities. Would I recommend it? For me, no. One, there's no security for me. Anybody who comes into those streets and walks around those streets, anybody can do building, and if you turn around and take something like Barangay 23C, which is under quarantine at the moment, there's 8,000 people live in that little barangay. 8,000, because the accommodation is really, really cheap. There are other people that turn around and rent houses off-piste, where you can rent a house next to a river, or you can rent a house as part of a block in a little commune. So it's maybe 4 or 5 little houses in a small gated community that's owned by a private investor. Very, very nice, but they don't look after it. The water will be very, very slow, maybe non-existent sometimes, because all they've done is they've just tapped into the local water supply. They haven't built in a tank, they haven't built in pumps. So there are lots of quandaries and things that you have to learn. But is it worth doing? Yeah, I think it's worth doing to rent, so you understand what you're going to get. Hopefully you've enjoyed the vlog. If you have, like, share and subscribe. If you have any questions, give me a shout out. I'm going to attach some pictures after each one of the little areas, so you've actually got a comparison. There is a website, and I'm not being paid for this, guys. I'm just doing this because somebody's asked me a couple of things. There's a website called Lamudi, L-A-M-U-N-D-I, and you can have a look at the properties that are on the rental there. There are a couple of places that I would suggest you go and look at if you're going to come here. Look at Marketplace on Facebook, type in house or property rental. Don't put property for rent, put rental property, or rental, what do they call it? Oh, the Americans have a word for it. It's not property, real estate. Yeah, so, or realtor. Yeah, so put that into your Google search to get where you're going. If you put down rental, you get a load of things about car hire and stuff like that, which is just a pain in the arse. Yes, but you'll get that. So this is my vlog today on renting accommodation in Davao City. It's not about anywhere else, it's just in Davao City. So to recap, 33 subdivisions are in Davao City as of current. Okay, 33. That's high end, middle high, middle, just under middle, what I call economy, and then what I call eco-friendly is people that want to go and buy up in the mountains and they want to live a secluded life and they want to be out there in the cold. But it's all there. But make sure you have good access. Make sure the road outside or near your property has transport to get you out, because if your car breaks down, it's a pain in the arse to go and walk somewhere. Okay, it's getting somebody to come and pick you up in the sticks, up in the forests by a taxi ain't going to happen. Doesn't matter whether you've got Uber or you've got Grab taxis or whatever you've got, they won't come out to you because they think it's a scam. They like to be in the city. They can pick up 10 to 15 fares by the time they come and pick you up. Yeah, so look at that. Make sure it's got fresh water. Make sure it's got good electricity. So some of the subdivisions that are out towards Sasa, going out towards Panabu, going out towards Tagum, the water supply is very poor. It's very slow, and it's quite difficult to get hold of, because when people are using it, it hasn't got big bores. It hasn't got 3-meter water pipes. However, on the Mintel side and the Ulas and the Matina areas, the water supply is very good, because the infrastructure has been put in there for these subdivisions to be built. So that, as I said, there are some nice places to live in Davao. There's some nice subdivisions. I like this subdivision because the roads are kept clean and tidy and they're not breaking up. As soon as they start to break up and they're falling apart and they start to become dilapidated, I'll move, because I don't like driving across potholes or downholes, and I don't like subdivisions that flood, okay, because they bring a lot of other issues on health and looking after what you're going to turn around and do. Here I can go out and walk, and I can turn around and travel. I can have good access to my road. My road's a bit of a pain in the arse. It's a bit potholey in that. However, I can go out onto JP L'Oreal this way, and JP L'Oreal is all brand new with tarmac, and it's great. I can get shopping, I can get to hospitals, I can get to malls very quickly. And that's one of the things you have to look at. You have to have this brain on, not your heart. Okay? Anyway, if you like it, share. If you like it, subscribe. And I look forward to doing the next vlog in another couple of days on apartments. And after apartments, a couple of days later, I'm going to do a vlog on buying land. And I will show you some land and some areas that are for sale. It's got nothing to do with me, it's just something to go onto my blog. I'm not getting any reward for it. I'm not being paid by somebody, you know. I'm not being paid by Coca-Cola to turn around and go through this. I'm doing this on my own benefit, that what I've learned, yeah, it's what I've learned. Always get a solicitor or an attorney or a legal person involved. Always make sure that you actually have a full watertight contract. Do not leave anything open. Do not, okay? Because whoever turns round and the gap is in there, that person will deny it was ever discussed. And it's one person against one person. Get it written down, okay? Like it says, what's written here is what I want. If you haven't got it in here, don't buy it, okay? Anyway, so like, share, subscribe once again. From me on my balcony, take care.